Hi everyone, how are you? So today's video is going to be about Markart, and I'm sure you've probably seen other channels. This set has been around for a couple of years. I've had this for over a year, or about a year, and this is a great low budget pencil set. It's oil based, and others have done have done reviews on this uh, pencil set. Very thick, great, very well made pencils. Very nice to use, very smooth to use. Again, you get a good variety of colors. And one of the people who's done a review on these pencils is Lindsay the Frugal Crafter. And she really loved these pencils as well. I think these pencils are great. They're very cheap and very good quality for the price, especially for the price. It's an amazing deal. It's almost like a dirty little secret. Like, I think that if you don't watch YouTube videos, you're not going to know about Markart. Now, Markart, they're saying, people are saying, like Lindsay, that these are exactly like Holbein's. Now, I don't know that for a fact. I do not own Holbein pencils. They're far too expensive for me. They're like $400. It's ridiculous for me. I'm not going to spend that much for color pencils, but she does because she's a professional artist. So Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, has Holbein pencils, and she took out her Holbeins. She said these look like Holbeins, they feel like Holbeins, and she swatched them next to each other, and they look identical. Even she was amazed. She was like, whoa. So yeah, and also I've heard, I can't verify firsthand because I don't own them, but people say that these are exactly like the Nioni pencils, which are much more expensive than these. Maybe not much more, maybe $20, $30, but a significant amount higher than these pencils. And they go by that because the numbers on the pencils start with an N. It says N and a number, 3-digit number. So, and that's what the Nioni pencils look like. So if you have a Nioni or Holbein, then you're probably not going to be interested in these pencils because they'll be the same. Now, others have said that they think that these are just like Arteza. I do have a small set of Arteza pencils. So I took out my 72 set of Arteza over here. I have my Arteza set. And I will tell you right now if I think they're the same or how similar they are here. So I'm going to use a red pencil here. And I take a similar red pencil color from the Arteza. Okay. So the Arteza's on the left, or I should say on the top. So Arteza on the top and the Markart on the bottom. You can see they don't line up in the same area. The Arteza pencil is a bit thicker. The leads are look about the same size. The Markart pencils, keep calling them the leads. The the cores are very thick, good thick cores. I've had no breakage with the Markarts either in my sharpener or when I've been drawing. I've had no breakages. Okay, so again, this is the Arteza. This is the Markart. I don't know if you can tell here, but the Arteza is a bit thicker. And I'm going to do a little, they both have gold lettering. And they both say expert on it, but they say expert in a different way. The Markart has it just with a clear background. It's just a square line with a clear background, while the Arteza has a gold box for the expert. So let me see. I'm going to do a quick Markart. Now the Arteza feels a bit creamier. The Markarts are a little drier. They're oil-based, so they feel a little drier going down, but they're very smooth and soft at the same time. While the Arteza pencils are a little bit more sticking a little more. It's a little softer core, slightly softer. So they're definitely not the same pencil. So if you have Arteza, you might still be interested in the Markart because I don't think they're the same pencil in a different box. I think they're different. Yeah. All right. So the same as Holbein, same as Nione. Now, like I said, these are oil based. They're like a perfect, as people describe it, perfect blend of soft and hard. If that makes any sense. They blend beautifully. Yeah, so because they are oil based, you do need to layer with them. They're not like Artezas or Castle Soft Touch or Prismacolor or Black Widow, where you can sort of just color with a heavy hand and get a good result. With these pencils, you do need to layer. But when you do layer, it does come out outstanding. Now, even though they're not as hard as the Star Joys or it's another hard pencil. They're softer than a Star Joy or a Cezanne. But they're not as soft as they're about the same consistency or hardness, I would say, as the soft touch of the Castle or the Arteza is just slightly softer. So they're a little crumbly. They're crumbly like the Castle. So if when you're coloring in. Now, all right, so before I get to this. Now, it's a great deal. It's only $23.99. And by the way, I'm not getting any kind of I'm not getting paid to do this or anything. I'm not a promotion. I'm just letting you know that I just checked Amazon as of October 29th, 2023. And these pencils are just $23.99. It's a great deal. I mean, better than a great deal. They are dirt cheap. But in order to make these pencils dirt cheap, they cut corners. Okay, so they're giving you a great pencil at a cheap price because they cut corners of the marketing. So, for example, they don't do a lot of advertising or any advertising. When you get the tin, I've had this for a while now, so it's not new. But when you get it, you don't get a swatch sheet. You don't get a pamphlet with details or a website or anything. There's nothing. You get nothing with this. Plain like this. And another way they cut corners is that there are no names on the pencils. You get a number. Okay, so when you get the pencil, it says Made in China Expert, and you get a number. And the other side, it says painting, color pencil, M number and Markart. So that's it. There's no names on this. So because they're such good quality pencils, I still love using them. And like Lindsay, the frugal crafter said, well, she just looks at the tips of the pencil and gets the color from there and goes from there without the name. So for her, she's a professional artist though. So it's a bit easier for her to distinguish colors, I think, than the average person. And I found that I thought, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, you can just tell. I can tell those are yellows, those are pinks. I got it. But what I realized after having this a while is that I didn't use these pencils very often, even though I have used them quite a bit. You can see some of them are worn down. You do want to keep a very sharp tip with these when you're layering. Sharp tip that works best. So you sharpen them a lot. So they may get worn down quicker. But at the same time, they're so cheap. You could get two sets of 120 for $46, $47. Two sets. So you could get two sets of 120 Markarts for less than what you pay for one set of Castle pencils. Just saying. Okay. So and these are better. And they're anyways. I like them better. I like them better than Star Joy. I like them better than Castle. I really think they are better. A little bit, maybe equal, but no, I think it's a little better. But it's a toss-up. It's a debate there whether they're better. I have to do figure that out. Maybe get further with that. But what I want to get at is I've had these for over a year, and I barely use them. At least not as much as I would think that I would have, considering how good pencils they are. And what I found was that what I realized is that I cannot use pencils without the name. Like I need to know the name. Because I use color pencils and watercolors. I do a lot of watercolor painting. And I have my watercolor palette set up. And I need to have the name in front of it because I can't tell by a little blob of paint what color it is and how it's going to look on the paper. I need to know which color is that, so then I'll know exactly what color I'm going to be dealing with. And it's the same with color pencil. I If I want, sienna brown, I don't want to sit there, and I'm doing a coloring book or something and I'm thinking, okay, sienna brown will be perfect with this. I don't want to have to sit there looking at all the tips going, okay, is it this one? Is it that one? Is it this one? Like, that's going to stress me out. And then I might not be right. I don't know if it's this one. Maybe this is burnt umber. Or is it dark brown? Or is it cocoa brown? Like, I don't want to sit there debating that. It stresses me out. So I just avoided this pencils. Like, I would always lean towards other sets of pencils because I just didn't want to deal with trying to figure out, So that was a real turnoff to this. As great as these pencils are, as smooth and as pigmented, excellent they are, I couldn't deal with not having a name on it. It was just too much. I was like, ugh. But then I realized, okay, so on the top of the box, you do have that swatch that they give you, right? But I mean, who uses this, right? This isn't going to look how it's going to look on paper. Everybody does their own swatch. They know nobody goes by this, right? Because everyone knows it's like factory printed. It's just, like pretty much advertisement. Like, it's nice that it's there, but like I don't pay attention to this normally with color pencils. I do my own swatching, right? Well, I decided to take a closer. I didn't pay much attention to this, but if you look, an itsy bitsy teeny tiny the writing. I don't know if I can zoom in on this. Oh yeah, there we go. The smallest font I've ever seen in my entire life. I wish I should have used this camera. My camera is zooming in really well, much better than my eyes can do on this. This font, this teeny tiny, I swear it's size 2 font, were all the names and numbers of all these pencils. They actually matched. I didn't think they did because this is such a cheap, pencil set. I thought, well, they probably just use the same, swatch set with all their pencils, and I just assumed it was probably not going to match, right? Well, lo and behold, not only do all of these swatches match, they give you a number and a name. So each one of these pencils has a name. I was like, oh, they didn't put it on the pencil, but they put it on the cover. I guess that was cheaper somehow for them to do. So then what I did was I went through each name and I strained my eyes, and I have good eyes, but I had difficulty reading this. It was so small. So I'm thinking, if I had difficulty reading this, then I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that could not read this at all. But I went through each name, logged it into my swatch sheet that I had from before, and I made a new swatch sheet for Markart. And it has all the names in a larger font size. So finally, I have the accurate name. So now I actually have a functional swatch sheet here. So now I can find the pencils easier, and I know all their names because I can refer to this. So yeah, that was exciting. I was like, wow, I got the names now. Now, if I wanted to, if I had the time and energy, which I don't, you could like somehow scratch the names on the pencil. I'm not going to do that though. This is fine. So I have a swatch sheet. I put it up for free. You can download it on my website. It's a PDF. And you can see now these are the colors of that Markart has. Beautiful colors. The swatch sheet is not perfect. You got some reds up here and you got reds down here, whatever. But this is the order that it's on the top of the box I went by. I went left to right, the order up there. So I just kept it. I think it's a good order. I mean, the pencils look. And one more hang up besides. So I do have all the names. You have all the pencils. And there were colors here I didn't even realize. I mean, they have a rosy beige. They have a rosy beige color. You know how fantastic that is for a cheap pencil set like this to have rosy beige? That's like a perfect color for shading the face. I had no idea that was rosy beige. I thought it was just a warm gray, So, but and then I realized now these are the warm grays and the cool grays over here. So this is a really good pencil set. It's a good variety of grays. Some surprise colors like the rosy beige. They did go a little skimpy on the names though. So on my sheet For example, they doubled up sometimes with the name. Like this one here, the lighting is good here. All right, you can see this. But I put a olive green, I put a 1 next to it because they put 2 olive greens. So I got 1 olive green here and then another olive green here. They have different numbers though. So you'll easily find the right pencil. This is number 048 olive green, and this is 097 olive green. So this olive green 097 is a dark olive green, while the 048 olive green is a light olive green. So they should have just used light and dark, but they didn't. They used the same name again, but the numbers are different. So I just put 1 and 2. Maybe I should put light and dark now that I'm thinking about it, but too late. I did the sheet already. So that's 1 and 2. They also put 2 lavenders. So we have right next to each other. So you have 9. N119 is lavender 1, and N014 is lavender 2. And they look very similar. Lavender, very, very close, but there's a slight shade difference. You can see that in my opinion, N104, as I look at it in the light, looks a little cooler than the N199 lavender. Looks a little redder. It looks a little more yeah, the first lavender is more red, and the second lavender is more violet. So there's a slight difference there with those two. I don't know why they went with those colors. But they did. So I think there's one more. Oh yeah, sienna brown. So there's 2 sienna browns. Again, different numbers, 99 and 22. Once they're different colors too. In that this sienna brown is like a light sienna brown, and the other one's like a dark or a regular sienna brown. So there's a couple of times where they use the same name, but all the numbers are unique. Yeah, so, and here is the swatch. So you can see what the Markart swatched out looks like. You see how vivid it is. When you layer it and then burnish, you get a very dark, vibrant color. I mean, comparable to any other professional pencil like Prismacolor. This is a very good pigmented pencil. And again, it's such a deal. I think, I mean, wow. So I just want to put that out there. I finally got around to getting the names of these pencils, and so now I intend to use them a lot more often than I did before. And yeah, so enjoy and don't hesitate to get or use these pencils if you don't have the Holbein or the Nione already, because then you'd have them already. But yeah, excellent pencils at an excellent price. All right, so that is all I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed this. You got the link down below if you want to download this swatch, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.